I'm going to. Welcome, everyone. We are live. We are live this morning. Oh, yes. Live and alive. Be the keeper of your own attention. Hmm? Your own attention. We say it all the time. We hear the scientists tell us where your attention is. Where your attention is, that's where your energy is. Where your energy is, that's where your attention is. And wherever your energy and attention are, they're one and the same. Wherever you have them focused, that is what expands because that's what you're breathing life into as you focus on it. You are calling it into existence when you give it your attention, when you give it your focus, right? Because that's your power. You're fueling this thing when you give it your attention. So, where are you going to put your attention? You put the attention inward because that's where it matters. That's where the power is. When you keep your attention upon your own self versus the opinions of others, right? When you keep your attention within, you're constantly checking, you know, and you say, let's fix that. Oh, let's do this. Oh, let's do that because your attention is ever on yourself. And it's, if I pause, that would be why. I got a beautiful note this morning and she showed me a picture of the universe. It's, there's an eye and they're showing you the eye and they're saying, well, God is always looking, right? God is always watching. And for some, that can be a little bit creepy, right? It can be. But think about it. We have mirror neurons, right? Neurons within the brain that are constantly paying attention to what? Yourself, your thoughts, your words, your actions. They constantly watch, right? So my response was, it stands to reason because the law says, as within, so without. We watch ourselves. We have eyes. We watch. We, we observe, right? So if we observe, but there is only one observer, isn't there? There's only one observer. So in order to be an observer, you have to be looking at something. And the only thing we're ever looking at is ourselves. So with your attention, with your focus, with your energy, with your power, what are you looking at throughout the day? Are you looking at things that edify or are you looking at things that tear you down? What are you looking at? So if you're going to ask yourself, what are you looking at and what are you giving your attention to? Then this is the ultimate question. What are you creating? What are you creating? Right? So every moment of the day, you're not being observed because you're being judged, because there is no one to judge other than yourself. Right? So when we go out into the world, you see, we do it because we've forgotten. We do it because we have forgotten who and what we are. When you recognize that there's only one thing here, just one, and this is the part that is so tricky for some. Shoot, our minds, our brains, we're not ready yet in some aspects. Because if we come to the comprehension that there is only one, do you think I could get up and hate you? Well, I couldn't, could I? Because I'd be hating myself because there's only one. But that's the part we've forgotten. We think because we look different, you see where the attention is? The attention is focused upon supposed or alleged differences. We have different personalities because we've experienced different things, but there's only one person or one thing experiencing everything. And if we would accept that, if we would accept that there is only one, then I would have nothing to hold on to with which to fuel my dislike and displeasure or hatred. Hmm? And sometimes we are so committed to our displeasure and our dislike and our hate. We do everything to justify it, justify holding on to it. That's what happens to us. Because it's there. We've had it for so long. It's familiar to us. Seriously, this is what we do. We put our attention and we look and focus upon the things that have hurt us. And we take offense to things that people say. We take offense at what people do. Oh, but Angela, you don't know how they've hurt me. No, I don't know how they hurt you, but I know that they were in a state and you are in a state. And if the state changes, then so too does the person. That's the part. And we become so, we have our attention so fixated on the things that are painful. And in that state, how will you encounter or experience joy? Well, you're not looking for it. Your attention's not on it. So where are you going to put your attention? Where? Always turn it within the self. And remember, when we turn our attention within, we're not judging. That's not why you do it. You look there because you're the only one there is to see. You're the only one there is to see. And then we'll say to ourselves, oh, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Because that would be from a whole different perspective, wouldn't it? It'd be from a whole different perspective. So if you remember that line from Neville's lecture last night, don't do things idly. Meaning, don't just let the mind wander. Be constantly vigilant of it. And the way to be vigilant of it, because it is far easier to look at one thing than it is to seek out many things at once. That is why you give yourself a singular thought, because then that crowds out everything else. And the mind is filled with just one thing, as opposed to fielding through thoughts. No, can't have that one. No, can't have that one. No, I can't have that one. No, choose one thought and have it. And with practice, we develop the ability to hold our attention in a deliberate area. That's the key. Where that energy is going builds power. Because it is focused. It's not, the beam is focused. It's not scattered, thereby making you powerful. But you will notice the difference between that power and the power to conquer another. They're not the same thing at all. So today, where will you put your attention? You see, we think we have shortcomings because we've heard that we have shortcomings. Oh, well, you didn't learn to do it this way. You didn't learn to do it that way. So you must be wrong. Right? That's what it is. We hear that we have problems. But do we? We keep looking for things to fix. Where's the attention? If the attention is focused on finding the problem to fix it because you think there's something wrong with you, now you have to find something that's wrong with you. So where are you going to put your attention? Listen, everything right now is designed to capture. Listen to the phrase that we use when we say it, to capture the attention. What do we capture? Hmm? What do we capture? We capture things that have escaped. We capture things we want to possess. Why would somebody want to possess your attention? Hmm? Why would they want to? You see? We keep giving the attention away. We keep giving it away instead of holding on to it for ourselves. It is yours. Learn how to put it where you want it to be. All right? This is why sometimes when those thoughts, when you're like occupied doing something else, and the thoughts just begin to run amok, we haven't trained ourselves to focus. We haven't trained ourselves to put our attention somewhere. We haven't done that. But we justify, we say things like, yeah, but I've been diagnosed with. Listen to the words that they use: attention deficit. A deficit of attention? You have plenty of attention. It's just a matter of where have you trained it to go. Don't come from me. I'm just saying, where have we trained it to go? But we allow ourselves to be pulled in many directions because we want to know what do they call that? Fear of missing out. See? Hear it. Fear. And then what happens? We try and have our finger in every pie. We try and say, oh, I got to see what's going on here. I got to see what's going on there. Oh, dear Lord. And the one thing we should be looking at, we are not. But then we wonder, oh no, what happened to me? How did I let myself go? Because you weren't paying attention to yourself. We're trying to put our attention everywhere else but the self. Why are you afraid of yourself? Why are you afraid of yourself? Why can't you trust yourself? These are questions that are valid, that we explore in quiet contemplation. Well, I don't know how to trust myself. We want to trust people. We want people to trust us, but we can't trust ourselves. Well, I don't know what I would do. Why not? You see where the attention is? It's out there. Why out there? Because we think that out there is a result of randomness. Then out there is the result of the inward. So it stands to reason that the attention should be within. When you know what's going on within your own mind, when you know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, when you do that and you turn inward, you'd begin to see your patterns. You'd begin to see your habits. You'd begin to see yourself and how you behave in a situation, how you respond in a situation. You always want to fight. You always want to be right. You always want to argue. Why? But yet we want peace, and we haven't focused our attention on cultivating peace within. So how can peace exist on the outside if we don't have it within ourselves. Remember that story in the Bible? And Jesus was asleep on the boat, and the tempest began to rise, and the disciples are like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do? The boat's going to sink. Jesus, help us." And Jesus got up and he was like, "What, how long have I been with you?" The first clue that he was at peace, he was asleep. But they're wide awake and wandering. Their minds are just everywhere. They're at turmoil within. So the sea can only be at turmoil. So he gets up and he says, "Peace, be still." How can he say, "Peace, be still"? Because he's calling it forth from within himself, because that's where it is. So when we use our attention to turn ourselves inward, when you look at yourself, you can see if you're in turmoil or not. Why are you in turmoil? Hmm? Well, that's a question to ask. What kind of thoughts are you thinking that cause this turmoil? So if you don't want to be in turmoil, what do you want to be in? Peace. So then practice breathing. But here's a secret. If you get into the state of peace, what would it be like if I were at peace? I'd walk down the street and my steps would be measured, and I would not be in a hurry. I'd just be cool, calm, and collected. I'd just hello to everybody, or they'd say hello to me. But I'd just, like a leaf in the wind, I'd just float through the day. See? I feel like I'd be on a cloud of cotton candy, just floating away on the breeze. Nice and cool and calm, yes? If that is within you, do you think you'll be affected greatly by the one who steps on your toe by accident? You won't lose your cool because you'll know that they're in a state of distraction. Their mind is completely somewhere else. And you'll say, "Oh, well, watch your step. Careful." That's what you'd say. But if you're agitated on the inside and somebody happens to step on your toe, "Oh man, my shoes were clean. I should bump you over the head," or you do. As within, so without. So the way to sort out what you're going to experience on the outside is to observe the self on the inside. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? If you hear that? With the driver of such and such license plate and such car, you left your lights on. See what happened? You were walking around the store and your attention was where? You were looking at your list. You were thinking about what you were going to do until someone called you and said, "Focus over here." Right? That's how people get our attention, by getting you to give it. Because your attention cannot be taken from you. Nothing can be taken from you unless you give it. Right? So this morning, where are you focused predominantly throughout the day? Where are your thoughts? Remember what Neville said? Self-observation is the first step. Because when you can look at yourself, now you can define your aim of where you want to be and where you want to go. And then you detach yourself from the current situation and attach yourself to what? The desired. You remove your attention from what you don't want. That's what we do. Remove the attention from what you don't want and put it, because there's only one attention, isn't there? So you take it from where you don't want it to be and you put it where you do want it to be. But to train the attention, depending on where you habitually gave your attention, it always wants to go back to the groove that you have laid down for it out of force of habit. So that's why it takes persistence on your part and my part to train the attention where we want to put it. So, how do we practice meditation? Meditation. That's just a fancy word, but you're practicing your focus. Remember that line from the movie? Your focus needs more focus. Spend a little bit more time focused within yourself. So, how do we practice focus? You set a task, which is, it could be breathing, it could be a dot on the wall, it could be a color. It set a singular task for where you want to hold your attention. And you see, the things that are most stimulating to us hold the attention naturally. You don't have to force yourself to hold your attention. So that's why, if you're going to practice meditation, Neville describes it as being in the presence of a lover. You want to be there. So then it is easy for you to give your attention. Do you not love yourself? Do you not love your company? That you can't sit there for a moment and just be there with yourself? Why not? I've got so many things to do. I don't have time for this. I gotta be here. What's the saying? I got places to go and people to do. Is that how they say it? Things to do, people to see, places to go. But if we would take the time to just practice sitting in silence, if you say, I want to be in the state of peace. Now, what would peacefulness feel like? What would I be doing if I were at peace? What would I be doing if I were at peace? That's the question, isn't it? Because you want to know what peace is. So when you answer that question, now you're in that state, because you've got to be able to recognize it. And so what would you do from a state of peacefulness? And you will notice you don't have to force yourself to breathe in a particular way, but the breathing complies with the state that you are in. Be in a state of anxiety and see how your breathing changes. Did you have to consciously change your breathing? Nope. All you did was change the state, and your breathing changed to match. So if you want to practice meditation, just sit there quietly and imagine yourself at peace. Imagine yourself at peace. Look at how frequently we use that word. Every commercial that you hear or see, every advertisement that you see is stroking your imagination. Why would it stroke your imagination? Because it is within the imagination. If you stir it up and move it, that is how you will act. So if you turn your attention inward towards your own imagination, then you are self stimulating. That's what you're doing. You're self stimulating. And when you do that, well, then you're the one determining how you will behave deliberately. And all it takes is practice. And practice is, don't we say practice makes perfect? Isn't that what we say day in and day out? So, what do you want to get better at? What way of thinking do you want to get better at? What types of words do you say to yourself that you want to get better at saying to yourself? What kind of behaviors do you want to practice? Hmm? Well, then, you've got to practice it. Select it, whether it's a thought, a word, or an action. Remember, it's one motion. Select it and practice it. And the more you practice, you will find how easy it becomes to hold your own attention. And that way, now you become the boss and you say, I will give you my attention. Or, no, my attention remains with me. That's what we're doing day in and day out. But the key is to do it deliberately. Choose this day who you will serve. You have a choice. So take the time to develop your attention. And remember, the things that hold your attention are things that you genuinely enjoy. They genuinely are. You see, we go according to nature, we act according to our nature, which is the state that we're in. That's how we behave. So if you say, I can't hold my attention, sometimes it's just that thing that you're just not interested in it. Because naturally, we are designed to pay attention. Hmm? Or else, how would we ever spend time with the ones we love? Because you know how not fun it is to force yourself to do it, isn't it? We don't have to force. Yes, Raptor. We don't have to force ourselves. Right? So today, my beautiful friends, where will you put your attention? Listen to that question again. Where will you put your attention? Which means what? It means you are the one with the power to decide what gets your attention. Because the thing that holds your attention, you act according. You act according to it. Hmm? The thing that holds your attention, you act according to it. That's the nature. It is law. So, will you constantly allow your attention to be snatched from you? Or do you want to be deliberate and hold it for yourself? And then you decide what you deem worthy to give it to. And it all comes down to practice. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And the better you get, the better you get. We just do. You know it as well as I. So then you find the way. What's the nuance for you when you meditate? Do you like it really, really quiet? Do you like it dark? How do you prefer it? Well, then do what you feel is most appropriate for you. But just practice it so that when you go out into the rest of the world, you are singularly focused and you're not being polarized, meaning you're not being pulled. Because if I say elections are coming up, and did you get your gold sneakers? Oh, Lord, have mercy. Now the room is polarized. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not even American and I know these things because they're everywhere. Right? But you see how easy it is to be polarized if you are not the one guarding your attention. Your attention is worth more than gold, man. It's worth more than anything in this world, but they've put a price on it. Because if I have your attention, I can make you buy something. If I have your attention, I can get you to do something. Do you want me to make you do something, or do you want to do something of your own volition? You ever been forced to eat peas? Never ends well, does it? Nobody likes to be forced. Well, I digress. That was a wayward thought. Right? We don't like to be forced. So that's why coercion. Oh, yes. Because if I force you, I will meet with resistance. You will say no. But if I coerce you, if I entice you, hmm? Oh, you see? You see how easy it is to relinquish your attention? All I have to come with is the sweetest of words. Hmm? All I have to do is tell you what you want to hear and how you want to hear it. And we say things like, "Ooh, take my attention, take it, take it, take it." And then we ask ourselves, "Oh my God, why do I feel so powerless?" Because we've allowed ourselves to be enticed. We've allowed ourselves to be, what's that word I want to say? I don't even know. But I trust you're getting what I'm telling you this morning. Practice putting your attention somewhere. And if it moves from there, put it back over and over and over and over and over again until it remains. Your brain will concede from sheer exhaustion. But once it concedes, what has it conceded to? Your control. Learn how to focus your attention. Because if you focus your attention, you can accomplish much. How do you expect to create things when you can't hold the image of things? Can you imagine the artist at the easel and he's telling you to be still so he can sketch you and draw you and paint you? But then every 30 seconds he goes, "Oh God, I'm so bored." He turns away. No. When you stand before him and his easel, you have his complete attention so that he can recreate what he's looking at. That's what it is. That's what we practice. And we become what we practice. Focused. But from that focus, you will realize that you've now disciplined the mind to do what you tell it to do. You are disciplined now. Think about it. You want to walk down the street and just fly off the handle at everything and everybody? That is an undisciplined mind. It means you have no self control. Hear the words self control. Control of who? Me? No, self. Why? Why would you want self control? Well, it stems from attention, paying attention to your behavior, evaluating it. Yeah, but this person did that. Yeah, but that person did that to me. And at the end of the day, who's exhausted physically? From having what? Scattered the attention like dandelion blossoms all over the place. And now you have no energy left for yourself because everybody has it. And then we ask, "Oh my God, why am I so tired?" Because you've kept no power for yourself. The power is in where you put your attention. Where do you focus it? I trust that makes sense. I trust it does. Let us take a brief moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space. Twitter, Bubakar. I listen. I just need to practice saying your name. Richard, hello. Hey, Solo Breezy. I haven't seen you in a little bit. Oh Lord. Oh, bird song. Brace yourself. YouTube and Facebook. Who's here? Ah, Sun is here. Asanya is here. Anot is here. Hello, Jeff. Jeff says the joy of missing out. Because some things you could let go. You can just let those pass you by. Queen Marat. Hello, darling. I see you. Hello, Cyber and Sugar Visions. I see you too. Who's here on Fanbase this morning? You are covered. Hello. Maddie and Millie. 808. Hey. Hello, Vaughn. Afternoon Delight is in the house. Commander is here. Joaquin. Flo Smiles. Toyera. Stephanie. Marquise. KZ. Shea Butter. Look, I didn't sing this morning because allegedly Sony says, well, that was 30 seconds of my song. So I'm like, fine, Sony, what's the point of having music if you don't want anybody to sing it? All you have to do is claim the royalties from it. Hello. But you know what? I understand what state. I understand the state. So I don't need to get all discombobulated. Right? But, it won't stop me from singing. I just won't be singing on YouTube and Facebook. Oh, Asanya says she's leaving Barbados. Oh, till September. Oh. Listen, where you put your attention is what expands. And how do you put your attention there? Your thoughts. Your thoughts. You doubt me? Well, any gentleman would tell you wherever he puts his attention. We know where he puts his attention because we see the evidence of where he puts his attention, but that may be considered as crass. So I digress. But it didn't take any hands. Look, man, no hands. You just need thoughts and putting your attention upon certain thoughts. If you're picking up what I'm laying down. Fan base, I can't see the chat. I can't see the chat. But I'll pop out and pop back in when we close everything else so I can catch up with you guys. But do you see it? Today, as you go forth into the world, practice where you put your attention. And for how long can you hold it for? How long can you hold your attention in one place? You see, because when we become distracted, what's the first thing we say? Your mind is just not in it today. Well, all is mind. If the mind isn't in it, well, it doesn't really work. Your awareness of something, the attention, is the fuel. So practice where you are putting it and for how long you are sustaining it when you put it in that direction. Because it's the duration. So if you say, I'm going to focus here for 30 minutes on this task, well, then you start and you finish. The attention has been unbroken. If you catch yourself wandering, just bring yourself back. But you see, we can always find a reason to justify why we cannot remain focused. Oh, I have this. Oh, I have that. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. Listen, How about we practice putting our attention somewhere and just holding it there for a moment? Just hold it for a moment. You see, when something has your attention and you are wrapped up in it, RAPT, like the rapture, it has you in its thrall then. You don't break eye contact, you're just there. It has your full attention. See that? That's a powerful thing. Practice doing that. And you will find how beautiful it is to train your mind. For instance, Dr. Joe Dispenza, when he was laying in the hospital bed with his crushed vertebrae, I know, baby, he said he saw his spine in his mind's eye. I don't know that he told us how long it took him to practice seeing his vertebrae until his attention was so fixated on it. But because he wanted to walk, that is what kept his attention. That is what kept him focused enough to say, I am going to do this because I must, because I have to. My survival depends upon it. My way of life depends upon it. So that's why he was driven to focus. You see, naturally, we focus upon the things that matter to us. If we don't care, then why would you focus? Because you don't care. So you see, it mattered to him that he walked. So when he said, well, I'm going to put my attention upon my vertebrae, it didn't matter what was going on around him, because he said, no, I'm walking out of here. So he was inspired to focus. But I don't remember how long it took him to do it. But we want to focus overnight. Listen, if seeds don't sprout and give you a sapling overnight, but well, then it stands to reason that practice is not going to bear you instantaneous results overnight. Don't look at how long it takes for you to quote unquote perfect holding your attention. Look at the fact that you can. That's the exciting part. Can you imagine all of the things that you and I could possibly do if we just learned to hold our focus deliberately? That's what should drive you. But anyway, I don't want to preach, because you know how it is. Let's get the bowl. And as you hear the bowl and possible bird song, see how long you can remain focused on just the tone of the bowl. See how long you can do it. The tone of the bowl. See if you can feel the rhythm of the bird song. Because it does have a rhythm. It does. Let's test it out. I am trusting that the bowl will come through this morning on the other platforms. Let's just get these things situated a little bit. And then oh, you've got to be kidding. YouTube, they can hear the bowl. YouTube can hear the bowl. Well, I'm going to allow YouTube to hear the bowl. I will mute them. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 1. YouTube and Facebook, thank you for coming out today. And you know I love you. I will see you tonight. 10:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember to pre-order your Hermetic Oracle cards. Also, remember to slide into my DMs if you are planning on coming to the Barbados retreat. We are holding another live stream for that event on Friday at noon. Much love, YouTube and Facebook. You know I love you.